Hola, ¿cómo estás? Welcome to FEC Friday number 12 or 12 for you, those of you who are gringo lingos like me. We're going to start off with a trip to St. Augustine. I was actually here to try to find 905 going down the old mainline, but unfortunately today was not my day for that. But I did find 202 coming through, and so we were about to watch or stalk, whatever you want to call it, some ES44 C4s as they come through the bend right here in Old West St. Augustine. So as 202 ducks off camera to the right, it is entering the elongated S-curves of Moultrie Junction. It is passing the Wilbur Wright Industrial Lead, and it will cross Palmer Street before hopping onto the concrete bridge as it crosses over the San Sebastian River, makes a hard left turn, and heads north towards Jacksonville. Due to probably this elongated S-curve as well as the highly populated and congested area of St. Augustine, the train speed has been reduced to about 20-25 miles per hour compared to its normal sprint of about 60 between Daytona and here. So this is actually a good place to kind of get some good photos and some good camera shots because the train it at least gives you more time to catch it. And as you saw from the teaser from the beginning, I did actually get some good angles from the San Sebastian River Bridge. So we'll revisit this elongated S-curve later on in the video. So while I was unable to stock 905 in St. Augustine like I originally wanted to, I was able to find them the next day down here in Bunnell, servicing the Vulcan Materials / Argos facility. this is a pretty reliable job to find them at. If they don't service it every day, it's almost every day. And so usually I can peg them between noon and 1 as being down here. On this particular day, I showed up at 1 and they were already in the middle of their job. So unfortunately, I did not get their approach into town. But so what we're watching now is they had already dropped their train. They are now on the siding. They're going to run around the train. So they're heading north. They'll get back on the main, wait for the switch to be thrown, head back south, and they'll push the cars that need to be dropped off into the spur, pick up what they need to pick up, and then they'll head back north to Jacksonville. I'm pretty sure this crew is tired of seeing me. I filmed this crew and this locomotive so much that I'm pretty sure they're probably ready to file a restraining order. But joke's on them. I'm just here for the MD. So while I waited for 9 to 5 to reach the north end of Durana siding and hop back on the main, I had plenty of time to notice and appreciate the recent infrastructure project that the FEC Maintenance Away Department had completed. So for the last week or two, the FEC Maintenance Away crews had been replacing old worn out concrete ties with new ones, as you can see here at the Otis Stonehunter crossing. They had gone up and down the main line as well as the siding, replacing these concrete ties, as this is a very important section of track, as the northbound and southbound mainline freights are normally traveling between 50 and 60 miles an hour through this section. So a good, smooth, and upgraded mainline is very important through here. So for the next week and a half, my area of Florida ended up getting bombarded with on and off rainstorms, which made filming difficult and catching trains pretty difficult. Plus, I was also busy with work and with kids and stuff like that. So finally on this day, I was able to find a lull in the rain. And when I mean a lull in the rain, it means it was still raining, as you can probably make it out on the camera. It was still raining, but it was light enough that I can actually set up the camera and everything would be fine. And so my whole goal was I'm trying to catch 905 servicing the Sunbelt Chemical Corporation, which is just north of here on the Hargrove/Henderson grade, whichever one you want to call it. I still haven't figured out when they service that location. Obviously, I believe it's an as-needed thing, and so I usually try to scout that company's location and see how many tank cars are done with before I believe that 905 will come get it, but I have not been lucky on that aspect so far. But this day, there was a lull in the rain, so I decided to see what 905 was up to, and so I ended up catching them coming down to Vulcan as well as Argos, servicing that facility. And so as you can see, you can kind of see the rain coming in, and right after I filmed this, the rain came in hard again, so I ended up shutting my filming down, and this is all I got on this day. So finally, on the 6th, the Sunshine State decided to be sunny again, live up to its name, and so So anyways, I decided to set up at Favoretta and catch the morning 202 as it headed northbound. And what we'll find out with this train is it has a bunch of the new Amazon Prime trailer traffic, and so I don't know exactly when they started carrying this traffic, but it's been a recent addition. So I've seen it once at night, and now this is my first time catching it during the day. So a week later, I'd catch the same train going northbound, this time up in St. Augustine. This is that elongated S-curve that I had mentioned in the beginning of the video. So this is right here from the San Sebastian River Bridge, and I wanted to test out a couple different angles because I do like trying to diversify the viewpoints for y'all, and I don't want to bore y'all with the same views every single time. And I did enjoy this view, but I think there's going to be a couple other things I'm going to try the next couple times. So the next day on my way to work, I had some extra time and I decided to run by the Sunbelt Chemical Company to check on the status of their tank cars to see how many they had left. And when I came over there, I checked the signals and saw a green light. And then when I went to look to the right to turn around, I see a headlight coming. So I had to hurry up and set my cameras, and then I had to run over here and hold this one by the main because they have a habit of knocking my cameras over. And I've already replaced one screen. I don't need to replace another. So believe it or not, 105 is actually going a lot slower than normal for this section of track. And I could sense that when he was first approaching, he was not going the normal 50 to 60 miles an hour that I was expecting him to be. And so when I turned my camera around to film this angle, I noticed that he was taking the siding, and there's usually only two reasons why a priority southbound like this would take the siding. Usually it's either maintenance or another train. And so while there's normally not any northbounds at this time of day, there was 905, and 905 apparently was working late today. He was still down using the main over by Vulcan and Argos, and so I guess he must have had a busy day, and so was still on the main by the time 105 came down, which is unusual. And so luckily for me, having patience paid off and having the extra time, and lo and behold, I saw the triangular headlights of 905 approaching in the distance. So this will be my last catch for this week's episode, but now that the sun is out, I'll be out and about hunting / stalking more FEC trains, both local and main lines. and I will catch you on the next one.